Peace and shalom. I'm Tovi Mikhael, and this is Roots Reclaimed. All right, peace and shalom, family. All right, the title of today's lesson is When Messengers Become Idols, Why Torah Forbids Salvific Figures. I'm Tovi Mikhael, Roots Reclaimed, and this is a continuation of the Bronze Serpent. This is the next episode of the series. In previous episodes, we examined the bronze serpent and a material object commanded by God, used for healing, and later destroyed by a righteous king. That destruction was not a contradiction. It was Torah enforcing a boundary. Tonight we extend that same Torah logic, not to objects, but to persons. Because if Torah forbids salvation from residing in a thing, the next question is unavoidable. Can salvation reside in a messenger? Once again, I have the QR code here for if you want to purchase my book. It's right there. But let's go ahead and get into the lesson because this is what you're here for. Once again, this is the Bronze Serpent rule. Numbers 21, 2 Kings 18. Authorized by Yah, destroyed by Torah. Effectiveness does not equal legitimacy. If bowing equals worship, then the Bible commands idolatry? Let's see. We'll try to prove this. Let's see. The Hebrew term malāk. The term malāk, meaning messenger, envoy, agent, is a role term, not an ontology term. The Hebrew word translated angel is malāk. The word does not mean divine being. It means messenger. This is not theological opinion. This is lexical fact. In the Tanakh, the malāk is used for human couriers, royal envoys, prophetic messengers, divine messengers, the same word, the same grammar, different senders. That tells us something critical. The term malāk is a role term, not an ontology term. It describes function, not nature. A messenger exists because something has been sent. The verb behind malāk is shalach, meaning to send. When shalach happens, a malāk exists. No sending, no messenger. Let us continue. The lexical range of the term malāk, human messengers, in 1 Samuel 11, 3 and 4, prophetic messengers in Haggai 1 and 13, divine messengers in Exodus 3 and Judges 6, the same word, but different senders. Let us continue. This is Samuel chapter 1 Samuel chapter 11, verse 3. And as you can see, the term malākim is highlighted. This is so they may send shalach, malachim, messengers. Also in verse 4, the malachim are the messengers. Let's go to the next verse. Haggai chapter 1, verse 12. Shalako, Okay, shalako. This is the term. And this term is letting you know that Haggai here, it says, gave heed to the summons of the eternal, their God. Here it says that he was summoning him. So there is that verb again. All right. And then here at the very bottom, the term malāk, which is God's messenger. Okay. So Haggai is God's messenger in this particular verse and chapter. Let's continue. Exodus chapter 3, verse 2. Specifically, the malāk, okay, of Yah, angel of God, appeared to him. This is Moshe. So he's appearing to Moses in the burning bush, the malāk, angel of the Lord. All right. Let's continue. Judges chapter 6. It has the malāk, as you can see highlighted, is the angel of God. All right. Once again, verse 12, as in verse 11, the term again, malāk, is used for angel of the Lord, angel of God. So this term, once again, I'll keep showing you, it's being used in different scenarios, same word, different sender. Now here we go to the actual term, the Hebrew root, shalach, okay, meaning to send. A malāk exists because a shalach occurs, okay? Ancient Near Eastern agency. In ancient Near East, authority was exercised through envoys. Kings ruled through representatives. Commands traveled through messengers. These envoys often spoke in first person because they carried the authorized speech. But no one confused the envoy with the king. Hebrew narratives reflect this exact agency model. In Exodus chapter 3, the malāk of Yahweh appears, and then the text shifts into the voice of Yah. The same pattern appears in Judges chapter 6. This is not identity fusion. This is agency overlap. And this distinction matters. Agency overlap does not equal identity overlap. Authorized speech does not mean shared being. To collapse messenger into deity is not devotion. It is category error. Okay? And as you can see, the envoy is not the king. The authorized speech does not mean shared identity. And this is a standard ancient Near East administrative role. Okay? Let's continue to the next slide. All right. Agency identity, agency overlap. Authorized speech does not imply shared being. Collapsed categories produces idolatry. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. So let's see. Deuteronomy chapter 13. Once again, when applying this rule, introducing this principle, most people avoid. A sign can occur, the sign can work, and the agent can still be false. Why? Because Torah does not judge truth by effectiveness. Torah judges truth by allegiance. Even a divinely authorized act becomes forbidden the moment it redirects trust, fear, or dependence away from Yah. This is the same logic that governs the bronze serpent. Authorization does not grant permanence, and effectiveness does not grant devotion. Okay, let's continue. Worship versus honor. Much confusion occurs in the terminology of worship. Theology through translation is known to have things that collapse, like the translation would collapse. But Hebrew is precise. The verb avad means cultic service, worship. It is a cultic act of service, which is worship. This verb is reserved for God alone. So God alone receives avad. The verb shakah means to bow, to prostrate. Humans may receive shakah. Kings may receive shakah. But only Yah receives avad. So I hope that is clear. The terminology is there. But let's prove it. The example, 1 Chronicles chapter 29 and 20. In 1 Chronicles 29 and 20, Israel bows to Yah and the king. The Hebrew grammar separates them. Honor is rendered to David. Worship belongs exclusively to Yah. When translations erase this distinction, theology absorbs idolatry by accident. Let's continue. Okay, so as we continue, we actually take a look here at 1 Chronicles 29 and 20. And highlighted, we can see that the term Le Yahuwah or Le Yahweh or Le Yahweh. Oh no, I'm sorry, La Yahuwah, La Yahweh, We La malāk. Okay? So the term here, Melech, is for king. Okay? But yet you can see it is also the same three roots, consonant roots, for the term malāk that we use for angel. Okay? However, what I would like to do is read this passage just to gain clarity. So it says, as to my son Solomon, give him a whole heart to observe your commandments, your admonitions, your laws, and to fulfill them all, and to build this temple for which I have made provisions. David said to the whole assemblage, now bless the eternal your God. All the assemblage blessed the eternal God of their ancestors and bowed their heads low to God and the king. They offered sacrifices to God and made burnt offerings to God on the morrow of the day. 1,000 bulls, 1,000 rams, 1,000 lambs. With their libations, they made sacrifices in great number for all of Israel. Let's continue to the next slide. Let's look carefully at what the Hebrew actually says. 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 20, the final clause reads, they bowed and they prostrated themselves to Yah and to the king. In Hebrew, the verbs used are gadad and shakah. Both verbs describe physical posture, bending, lowering oneself, showing honor. What is important here is not only what the verse says, but what it does not say. The verb avad, which means cultic worship or service, is not used. The grammar is precise. Honor is rendered to Yah and to the king. Worship is not. Hebrew does not confuse posture with devotion. Let us continue. One second. Here we go. Used towards humans, not worship. To make this even clearer, the same verb, shakah, is used throughout the Tanakh towards human beings. Abraham bows to the people of the land in Genesis 23. Jacob bows before Esau in Genesis 33. David bows before King Saul in 1 Saul 24. A woman bows before the king in 2 Samuel 14. In none of these cases is worship taking place. The verb does not change. The recipients change. The meaning remains the same. honor, submission, recognition of authority, not deity. If Shekhah meant worship, then Abraham worshipped humans and David worshipped Saul. The text will not allow that. Cult of worship and service. Now let's look at the verb the Hebrew verb actually used for worship, which is avad. The verb governs covenantal loyalty, cultic service, and religious devotion. When Israel is commanded to worship Yah, avad is the verb used. When Israel is warned not to worship false gods, avad is the verb used. Exodus 20, Deuteronomy 6, Joshua 24, and here is the key point. Avad never takes kings or prophets as its object, ever. The category is reserved for God alone. Hebrew maintains a categorical separation. Shekhah describes posture. Avad defines worship. Confusing the two creates idolatry. Hebrew has a word for worship. It is not used here. Let us continue. Okay, so as we continue on this next slide, the final lexical distinction, what I want you guys to know is the term, the three roots here, which is the mem, the lamet, and the kaf sofit. They have three different ways you can vocalize it, which can mean three different things, okay? So the term we've been using is malāk, okay, which is messenger, an agent. It's a function-based role term. The term melech that we see in Chronicles, 1 Chronicles 29 and 20, that term is a king or a ruler, an office, or is a status term, basically. The term malāk has a divine allegiance. It's a defied kingship, and it basically demands worship, okay? So I want you to understand that distinction, because when we speak of it, a malāk is sent, a melech rules, and a malāk demands worship. Confusing these categories is how idolatry is born. Now let's go to the next slide. All right, so now this brings us to a conclusion the text itself forces. The Torah never commands belief in a Messiah. Kings are judged, prophets warned, priests mediate rituals. None of them absorb salvation. Salvation in Torah is covenantal, communal, conditional, and whenever redemption is centralized in a person, Torah intervenes, just as it did with the bronze serpent. This is not a denial of a Messiah. It is a definition of Torah's limits on mediation. Let us continue. Messiah implication. Torah never commands belief in a Messiah. Salvation is covenantal, communal, and conditional. Centralized redemption violates Torah logic. Let us continue. If salvation cannot reside in objects, in angels, or in kings, then the question must change. The question is no longer who saves us. The question is, what form of restoration does Torah actually allow? That is where the text leads next. So, with that being said, this is Bat Golah. I will be leading you to Bat Golah next. Let's take a look at the references and citations, as always, because you know I like to make sure you guys have a way to go back and verify and realize these things are not just some things that I'm saying in my opinion. They're all referenced citations, and they come directly from my work. All right. All right, once again, peace and shalom, family. I hope y'all enjoyed this, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace.
Like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Peace and love.